What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Garage Denali. This is Jonathan here. I'm bringing another DIY to you guys. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be retrofitting fog lights. So this here is my 2008 Honda Accord Coupe. Specifically, this is the EX trim. So it's the 4-cylinder, it's the EX, so it's got the fabric interior, and because it doesn't have leather, and because it's not the V6, there's a few options it doesn't have, and one of them are fog lights. So I want to get fog lights for this car because I think that they would be functional, not to mention the fact that it would look a lot better. If it's one thing that I dislike about more basic cars, it's all this trim, or all this optional delete panel, you know, all this filler plastic that they put in, because obviously there's nothing there. So when you have that on the car, when you have blank switch blank covers on the interior, I'm not really a fan. Now granted, some people who only need a car for absolute basic transportation, they don't care about this stuff, but me, I don't really like base cars or poverty spec cars, so I'm going to be doing this retrofit. So the fog lights are right here. So if I crack these boxes open, you can see this is one of our fog lights right here, and then the other one, if I can just get this open, there's our other fog light. So this right here, this is our driver's side fog light, to be specific. So they're this oval shape, and then this kit here also includes the hardware that you need. So you have some zip ties, there should be some bolts in here as well. So yeah, there's one bolt right there. That's going to be for when we ground the connector. The kit also has the connector right here, so this is it. And then we have our turn signal stalk right here, which also incorporates the fog light switch. So I don't know if you guys can see through the wrap, but right there, that little dial for on and off, that's for our fog lights. So we're going to have to swap this out as well. So real quick, I'm going to show you guys the part numbers for all this if you want to do this yourself. So as you guys can see, this entire fog light kit you can buy. This one specifically I bought on HondaPartsOnline.net. I'll leave a link in the description, but what you can do is you can buy the entire kit like I did here. There's the part number right there. And then you also have to buy the switch, which I just showed you guys right now. So if you have the automatic lights in your car, like I believe the V6 models and possibly the EXL, so basically, if you have leather, I believe, even if you have the 4-cylinder, you'll have automatic lights. So if that's the case, you shouldn't have to retrofit this, but if you wanted to, for whatever reason, that part number for the fog light switch kit will have an A at the end, because A is for automatic lights. So these are the part numbers right here. This is how much it cost. Okay, so our first step, we get the hood popped open, and we're going to remove these 7 fastener clips. Okay, once we got that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and remove the 2 screws that are right in front of the front wheels. So the screws that are on each of the 2 sides of the front bumper are just a regular Phillips head screw. So go ahead and get those out. Okay, so now the next thing that we need to do is we need to remove 10 clips that are holding the front bumper on. So just go ahead and get these out, and then we can pretty much pull the bumper off. Okay, so once you got all of your clips out from underneath, like I've showed you where, you're pretty much good to pull the bumper off. Okay, and now with all of those clips removed, what you're going to want to do now is go ahead and get a rubber mat or a towel or something soft, so when you pull the bumper off you can lay it on that so you don't scratch it up. So now at this point we can go ahead and start prying this off. not gonna lie, that was actually pretty easy. Okay, so as you guys can see, I got the bumper pulled off, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do this, but in a nutshell, we're gonna remove those 2 screws for this piece of trim here. So your fog lights will mount into here, and you'll have a bracket where it clips up here, and you got the same thing on the other side. And then we gotta connect the harness for the fog lights to the main harness here. So it's gonna be kind of difficult to see, but if you guys can actually see that little clip that's resting on that white tank, that's the washer fluid, that is where our fog light harness is going to plug into. So that's for the passenger side. And then as far as the driver's side goes, if I swing around here, if we look right through here, hoping you guys can see that where my finger is, this is where that harness will go in. So Honda actually made this pretty easy to do, and I'm not sure why I have this. This is the second time I'm finding one of these coffee lids behind my wheel liner, but regardless, Honda made this pretty easy to do, except for the fact that unfortunately automatic lights are kind of a pain in the ass on this car. I wanted to do that if I could, but based on some of the research I've done, Honda electronics are just... So unfortunately that won't be happening, but at least we can get fog lights. So with that, let's go ahead and pop these off. So these fog light covers are just held on with 2 Phillips head screws, or I'm sorry, 3 Phillips head screws. So go ahead and get those out. And there we go. There's our lights, our fog light delete plastic. You can just trash this, honestly. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we got our brand new, this is our driver's side fog lights, so let's go ahead and get this out of the bag, and we can bolt this up. So this is nice and brand new. This is Honda OE equipment. As you can see in the plastic, it even says Honda. So we're going to go ahead and peel that sticker off, and then we're going to get this baby mounted. So the way you got to feed this in, if you look at this little, it's got like a nudge right here. The way you clip it on, and I'm actually going to show you guys, if you look closely, this little slot right here, that's actually for your fog light right there. So it's going to go right in here, not in these main clips, because that actually goes right there under the headlight, if you can see. So your fog light clip just goes in like that. Just get it flush, and then you swing it down, and that kind of holds it on top. And then you get your screws and you screw it right in here. Drop it. Okay, so we got both fog lights mounted and installed. So now the next step is we're going to go ahead and take that wiring harness, and we're going to go ahead and plug it in under the headlights on each side for the car, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to use those zip ties to tidy it up and, you know, make sure the wires are not just kind of dangling about. And then after we get all that plugged in, we're pretty much just going to turn the car on and test fit, test to make sure the bulbs are working, because you want to be sure of that, and then we can go ahead and button everything back up. Okay, so as far as the wiring harness goes, what you're going to want to do is the female part of the plug, go ahead and remove it from the blue tape that's holding it onto the main harness, and take your fog light harness, go ahead and plug that in, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take the bolt that is provided and go ahead and fasten that down right there. That is a 10mm. So once you do that, you're pretty much going to do the same thing on the other side here. So get your fog light harness plugged in. I just used this ground bolt right here to secure the fog light harness ground. That's also a 10mm, so Basically at this point what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and use those zip ties and tie these together, make it look nice and neat. And then we're going to turn the bumper around, plug the fog light harness into each of the fog lights, and then we're going to go ahead on the inside and go ahead and get the fog light switch installed. So one last thing before we head on inside, we're going to go ahead and plug in our fog lights into the harness, and then we're going to get that switch installed. Okay, so what we need to do here on the interior is we got to get this steering column cover removed. So go ahead and get a plastic pry tool, flathead screwdriver, something that we're going to use and get this out. So this is only held in with some clips, so it really shouldn't be difficult to pop out. So go ahead and just wiggle this in here. So what you're going to do is just put something in here and just kind of push inwards, and the cover just pops right off. So I only did this on the left side and it popped off on both. So go ahead and just make that rest backwards like that. And then we're going to go ahead and remove the bottom half. Now the bottom half is held in with a Phillips head screw right in here. So go ahead and get that out, and then we have a second one here and a third one here. So we got a total of 3 Phillips head screws that hold this bottom panel on. So make note that this screw here is like a bolt, and this one is the one that goes all the way down here. And once you have that, this cover is pretty much ready to come out. So I guess we're just going to have to pull this steering wheel out to telescope it so we can, or actually, yeah, we'll pull it out a little bit. So honestly, that's good enough. Okay, so now the next step is to go ahead and turn your steering wheel just about 90 degrees counterclockwise, because we need to remove these 2 little screws right here. So these are held in with 2 Phillips head screws, so go ahead and get these out, and then we'll remove the switch and get the new one swapped in. Okay, so once those screws are out, this is almost ready to come out. Just go under here, push this little tab in for the green connector so you can remove that, and then your whole switch assembly is ready to come out. So now at this point, now we're going to go ahead and remove this connector, and we're going to get the new one plugged in. Okay, so once you got the old one out, go ahead and grab your new one. Process is the reverse. Go ahead and plug in your harness until it clicks, and then after that go ahead and slide the stalk in, and then go ahead and take your green connector and plug that back in until you hear a click. At this point what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn everything on, make sure everything works, and once we have that green light we can go ahead and button all this back together. So quick flick of the turn signals, those work. As I turn the lights on, I can hear clicks, so that's good. And when I turn the fog lights on, I also hear clicks, so that's good. So now, moment of truth. And would you look at that? It looks like we got our fog lights working, so that's looking pretty good. That's exactly what we wanted. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and button everything back up on the inside. Then I'm going to get the bumper mounted again. The process is pretty much the reversal of removing it. And that's pretty much it. DIY on how to retrofit the front fog lights for your 8th generation Honda Accord Coupe. This tutorial pretty much is for the 2008 through 2010 Accord Coupe specifically. As far as the 2011 and 12 Coupe, there might be some slight variations. I'm not 100% sure. I do know the information is out there. There's a PDF on how to do this. I can go ahead and put the link to that in the description. But yeah, pretty much it's a pretty straightforward job, honestly. You can do this in less than an hour. So as you saw, the bumper came off with the clips on the top, 2 screws on each side right in front of the wheels, and then you got all those clips underneath, and then it just pulls right off. Pretty surprisingly easy, like I said. And the wiring for the fog lights is already there inside behind the bumper, and pretty much you just get everything plugged in. And of course you want to get that switch installed, test everything out, and at that point you're pretty much all set. So go ahead and button everything back up and enjoy your fog lights. So these are nice because I think they complement the LED headlights pretty well. You got the 6000K LED headlight, and you got the 4300K, I believe, is the color temperature for the halogen bulbs. But I always like that combination. It worked pretty well. So you know, if this car was a different color like black or maybe gray or silver, I would have done the yellow fog lights like I did on my BMW that I had. But I figured, you know what, I don't think yellow goes well with red, so I'll just leave it that way. And plus, it's a nice OEM factory look, which is generally how I like my cars. So like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Check out my Instagram page at Garage Denali. Thank you very much. Take care.